Blue Cliff Record, Case 84. Vimalakirti's Gate to the One and Only. Engo's introduction. Even if you say yes, nothing can be affirmed. Even if you say no, nothing can be denied. When yes and no are left behind, and gain and loss are both forgotten, you are naked and exposed, free and at ease. Now, I want to ask you, what is in front of you and what is behind? Some monk may come forth and say that in front there are the Buddha Hall and the temple gate, and behind there are the sleeping quarters and the abbot's meeting room. Tell me, does that person have eyes to see? If you can discern this, I will acknowledge that you have met the ancients. Main subject. Vimalakirti asked Manjushri, how does a bodhisattva enter the gate to the one and only? Manjushri answered, to my mind, in all dharmas there are no words, no preaching, no talking, no activity of consciousness. It is beyond all questions and answers. That is entering the gate to the one and only. Then Manjushri asked Vimalakirti, each of us has had his say. Now I ask you, how does a bodhisattva enter the gate to the one and only? And here in brackets, Secho said, what did Vimalakirti say? He also said, I have seen through him. Secho's verse. Foolish old Vimalakirti, out of compassion for sentient beings, lies sick in Vaisali, his body withered, emaciated. Manjushri, teacher of 7 Buddhas, comes and finds the room cleared of everything. He speaks of how to enter the gate to the one and only. Is Vimalakirti overpowered by Manjushri's words? No, not overpowered. The golden-haired lion cannot find him anywhere. Summer Sesshin. Small this time, intimate. And intimate we are with each other, with the lush growth around us. After days of high heat and humidity, the global warming that cannot be ignored, the new creatures that have come from southern climes settling in. But yesterday, today, perfect Sesshin weather. Every day is a good day, we heard. If our minds are so, yes. Birds singing. Just now, before I came in, I was standing on the ramp watching a monarch drink from the spiky purple flowers in the rain garden at this end. A huge gust of wind came, continued. Hoku started, continued. Bumblebee came, switched flowers. Checked out some of the other kind of pale lavender ones that are all over the place there. Returned. This is a wonderful example for us, isn't it? No matter what, we just return. This flower has it all. Really, it's the Dharma Dhatu, the whole universe that is chanting, that is drinking, that is filled with such joy. And we all join in. But with chanting, really chant. How do you feel? Yeah, maybe a little while ago you were tired and in pain. Anybody? We are not here to pretend. But when tired and in pain, what do you do? Chant. With all your might. Whether you are chanting with everyone out loud or within, turn it around. Turn your light around. When you sit there in a heap, when is he going to the bell? He went to sleep. He's probably in samadhi. We're not going to have any kinhin. This is unfortunately many people's experience from time to time. And so I want to tell you, your practice, your life is up to you. It depends on nothing whatsoever. Well, today we are looking at one of my favorite koans from one of my favorite texts. We studied the Vimalakirti Sutra in Dharma study some time ago. It may have been back in my attic zendo. Yes, Kushu?
Yes.
And you too?
Before me.
Before you. Kushu remembers. Anyone else? You remember? Wow, it was fabulous, right? Early 1990s. Translation by Robert Thurman, based on the Tibetan version that was completed in the 9th century. Very up to date. So let's start with Engo's introduction. And in this, he's saying, yes, no. We ascribe reality to things out there, right? Oh, yes, I like that. Oh, no, I don't want that. Or maybe, with the same out there mind, our inner mental states. I have to get rid of this emotion before I can actually practice. Good luck. Believing such things, there is this kind of continuum of dualistic thinking. No faith in mind, only in conditioned mind, as we have been looking into in chapter 3 of the Shurangama Sutra, which we studied last Sunday, almost a week ago. In this belief that we have so often, belief in yes or no, we feel somehow apart from, we use this word, true mind, because believing in the reality of dualism causes us to see everything as separate. And we simply go along and continue in this division of our lives. Jikyo said last Sunday about the Shurangama, about the title, which is very nicely put, the title. The conditioned mind and the true mind. It doesn't say or. But Jikyo said, well, I'm using my conditioned mind to see the title. So I do view them as two. Such an important statement. Again, we cannot pretend. We have to really get at what it is that causes us to feel apart from, shut out, right? There is a very good passage that we read where Buddha is asking Ananda about the two fundamentals. What are these two fundamentals? And he says the first is the mind that is the basis of death and rebirth, and that has continued since time without beginning. In other words, around and around and around. What we mean by samsara. Okay? This mind is dependent on perceived objects. And again, it's not just those things out there, it's what's going on inside you. Dependent upon what you have decided are states of mind or perceived objects. And it is this mind that you and all beings make use of, and that each of you consider to be your own nature. This is where we're living. This mind of separating things into this or that. The second fundamental is full awakening, which also has no beginning. It is the original and pure essence of nirvana. It is the original understanding, the real nature of consciousness. Now, this sentence, pay attention. All conditioned phenomena. What are conditioned phenomena? Conditioned phenomena. Eh? Life, death. All conditioned phenomena arise from it. What is it? True mind. Full awakening, I said a second ago. Pay attention. All conditioned phenomena arise from full awakening. Pure mind. And yet, it is among those phenomena that beings lose track of it, losing track of this fundamental true mind. Because what? All these conditioned phenomena have arisen from this true reality, and what happens?
We get caught up.
Yes, we get caught up. And
And trust that.
and we trust and we believe that's my real self. They have lost track of this fundamental understanding, though it is active in them all day long. And because they remain unaware of it, they make the mistake of entering the various destinies, the other realms, not just human realm, some realms that you probably don't want to be in and are in. Now, I promise I will not read any more from the Shurangama Sutra now. However, the Vimalakirti Sutra, as I was going through it again, I thought, this is a good part. This is a good part. Yeah, this is a good part. So, here we have it. Yes and no. Not to lose track of it. To be able to sit so single-mindedly, as Kushu said yesterday. To be naked and exposed, free and at ease in the simultaneity of everything as it is. The big and. Simultaneity. Heart Sutra says, no birth and death, and no end to birth and death. This great word, A-N-D. Yes. But, we're constantly conceptualizing, is it true or is it false? Which is the mind that I'm having right now? Asking that question, we're pretty sure that it is conditioned. Always thinking it should be pure and one. Should be is a real problem, right? Should not be that way. Uh-oh, another one. So what happens? What happens when we get into that way, that mode? We get caught up in suffering, right? And right here, we see the unfolding of the Buddha's Four Noble Truths. Yesterday, Kushu used the word nobility. Wonderful word. To feel your own nobility. Yes? To feel the nobility of these teachings that are based on experience, not on concepts or ideas. So what are these four noble truths? The first one everybody knows intimately. Yeah? First noble truth, drink of water. Feeling thirst, all right? It's a very good example of dukkha. Thirsting usually for what we cannot have. Thirsting after something. Thirsting after that pure mind that somehow is eluding us. In a way, we could say what dukkha is dis-ease. And, according to Master Rinzai, disease. I will read to you from chapter 11 of Teaching the Assembly. The Master addressed the monks, saying, nowadays, very funny, nowadays, when did that begin? Those of you who practice Buddha Dharma need to have true insight. If you get true insight, you will no longer be tainted by life and death, and you will be free to go and stay. Though you don't seek that which is excellent, that which is excellent will come to you all by itself. Followers of the way, outstanding ancient teachers all had their own methods to liberate people. In the case of this mountain monk, all I want to point out to you is that you must not be deluded by others. If you want to act, just act. Don't ever be intimidated. You students nowadays don't get it. What is the disease? The disease is a lack of self-confidence. If your faith is insufficient, you will keep on wandering in confusion. No matter what the circumstances, you will be controlled and led around by others. You will not find freedom. But then he says, if you can stop your continuously seeking mind, then there will be no difference between you and the Buddhas and patriarchs. Well, the second noble truth, our practice allows us to see more and more clearly the karmic patterns we love. Clinging to them or rejecting them, running away, running towards some new possibility out there. That relationship didn't work out. Okay, how about this one? You remember, some of you who may have seen early years of Saturday Night Live, Rosanna. It's always something. And so there's this attachment to what we have come to see as our hindrances. Familiarity. Sometimes it's said it breeds contempt, but I think it breeds condemnation, that we are condemned to our karma. Well, what's out there? I don't know. I mean, what if scary. I'll just stay with what hurts me. Nobody puts it that way, of course. But familiarity is really something. So what do we do to break through this? Well, one thing we do every day, whether we're here or not, sincerely reciting the verse of purification. Surrendering all our stiff-necked posturing. Maybe you need to look in the mirror sometimes to notice it. Look in the mirror of your zazen. See what you're doing that perpetuates your misery. And finally, what? We give up. And as Master Rinzai said, we stop. Third noble truth, cessation. To take refuge, tisarana, is to realize it's not about me. To take refuge, to surrender to what is inconceivable and always at hand. To rest in our pure nature, who we truly are, not who we think we are. You know, it's actually very helpful when you find that that inner agitated voice is returning, and it will. It's very, very helpful to ask yourself, who the hell do you think you are? Because there's that kind of underlying, well, I know this situation, I'm being affected, I'm blah, 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 blah. Right? Who the hell do you think you are? This is really important. And that voice gets less strident the more we sit, until there is just this being, this clear mirror mind of lucid awareness. As we chant in the Heart Sutra, no hindrance in the mind. No hindrance, therefore, no fear. Therefore, you can cross that threshold of no knowing. Realizing, actualizing, step by step, responding to what's asked of us, quite naturally. Never knowing what will be asked of us in the next moment. And that's okay. So we find ourselves walking the fourth noble truth, the eightfold path. Is it a formula? No. With each step, we are walking for the first time. This is renewing our vow. The Diamond Sutra we heard this morning, wonderful reading. Subhuti answered the Buddha's question, saying, the Tathagata has no formulated teaching to expound. Why? Because the Tathagata has said that truth is uncontainable and inexpressible. It neither is nor is it not. This is and. So we come to this koan with this background. How do we enter the gate to the one and only? Some years ago, we received a donation from someone who has a real sense of how our surroundings can enhance our practice. The same one who put that huge stone in front of the back steps of the Foreman house donated this gate to the one and only. How do we enter this gate of non-duality. Well, yesterday we read So-san Zenji's Faith in Mind. I know it was a long time ago, but I will remind you, as long as you tarry in dualism, how can you realize oneness? And when oneness is not thoroughly understood, in two ways loss is sustained. The denying of reality is the asserting of it, and the asserting of emptiness is the denying of it. Abide not with dualism. Carefully avoid pursuing it. As soon as you have right and wrong, confusion ensues, and mind is lost. The two exist because of the one. That's what the Shurangama Sutra was telling us just a little while ago. Remember? But hold not even to this one. When a mind is not disturbed, am I in pure mind or am I in conditioned mind? I better hold on to that pure mind. Good luck. When a mind is not disturbed, the 10,000 things offer no offense. All these different manifestations, each is nothing but this true mind. So with mind unattached to form, Engo Kokugon tells us in the introduction, he asks us to come forth and respond. What is in front of you? What is behind? Anybody? What is in front of you? What is behind? Well, you could look at the altar and say, in front, in this room, in front is what? And what about what's in back? What's that back there? Huh? You could say, in front is the Buddha on the altar. In back, there's the Foreman house. Matter of fact, yeah? So now Engo is asking you, how about this monk? What did the monk say? The monk said, some monk, he said, may come forth and say that in front there are the Buddha hall and the temple gate, and behind there are the sleeping quarters and the abbot's meeting room. Is this example, or what you have said, coming from matter-of-fact mind? In other words, caught up in differentiation without realizing the simultaneous sameness? Or has, in your opinion, this monk realized ordinary mind, true ordinary mind? What do you think?
He's gone and come back. He's gone and come back.
In yesterday's talk, we heard about Umun, very famous. Every day is a good day. In case 68 of the Blue Cliff record, Umon, as usual, answers his own question, which is, what is your own light? And no one answered. He said, the halls and the gate. Now, is that matter of fact? Or pure fact? Alive? Dynamic? And later on, he said, something, no matter how wonderful, is never better than nothing. Is that negation? So, discerning this monk who comes forth, does he have the Dharma eye? What do you need in order to discern this? What do you need that you don't have?
Oh. I don't have it. I need it.
Yeah. Engo says, if you can discern this, you are intimate with the ancients. And this brings us to the main subject of the koan, you'll be happy to know. Who are the ancients in this case? Manjushri, or Monju, as we say in our dedication in Japanese. Monju, Bodhisattva, Manjushri, and Vimalakirti. Yes, very good. So what about Vimalakirti? We know about Manjushri. Somebody can tell us, just in case some people have forgotten, who is Manjushri? The Bodhisattva of wisdom, cutting through delusions with his sword that cuts into one, again, one. But let's hear a little bit about Vimalakirti. He was a lay Buddhist practitioner who attained deep, profound enlightenment. Robert Thurman, in his excellent translation and introduction, speaks of him and gives us a very good sense of how he functions. And he speaks of the miracles of Vimalakirti. How many of you believe in miracles? Isn't it a miracle that you can sleep through this Teisho? You never know, do you? All the miraculous things that occur in this sutra do so as skillful means to offer the teaching. And I'm sure you are, not jokingly, but are engaged in miracles, even if you don't realize it. But let me read to you what Thurman says. The miracles are not simply displays of magical prowess, either clamoring for belief or challenging disbelief, but rather are intended to stretch the imagination. Stretch what we think is possible, to push us way beyond our limited ideas of what reality is. They are intended, he says, to shake your ingrained preconceptions of possibility and impossibility and make you receptive to the message of inconceivability. And he ends that section, that introduction. We may be so fortunate to come to hear the great lion's roar of his profound silence. Well, first, in this sutra, there's a section on the purification of the Buddha field. There's a great gathering around the Buddha of 32,000 bodhisattvas, 10,000 brahmas, 12,000 chakras from various universes, and many other powerful beings, and the community of bhikshus, bhikshuni, laymen, laywomen. But let me ask you, what is a Buddha field? Well, of course, we can find here some examples of Buddha fields. For example, okay, a bodhisattva's Buddha field is a field of virtuous application, high resolve, the magnificence of spirit of enlightenment, field of generosity, field of tolerance, field of effort, field of wisdom. Quite a few pages referring to what a Buddha field is. But we might say that Sesshin is purifying our own Buddha field. Especially when we have come up with some feelings of irritation. And we think we shouldn't have that irritation. And we can get caught up in all of that, or we can purify. We can purify our own Buddha field. Some of you remember, perhaps, I spoke about a novel by Lynn Sharon Schwartz. This was back in 1983. A wonderful novel called Disturbances in the Field. Disturbances in the Field. Some of you, no doubt, have been open to feeling this. Disturbances in the field. You may even not know what it relates to or who it relates to, but feel disturbances in the field. Anybody? It's a wonderful title that she has used for this novel that, of course, has a lot to do with physics. But in any case, let us go to Vimalakirti himself. I will go and read to you a little bit from this chapter 2. And it's about his inconceivable skill in liberative technique. Having served the ancient Buddhas, he had generated the roots of virtue by honoring them and making offerings to them. He had attained tolerance as well as eloquence. He had attained the power of incantations and the fearlessnesses. Having integrated his realization with skill in liberative technique, he was expert in knowing the thoughts and actions of living beings. This actually happens to you. You know, you don't even have to say to someone, "So, how's it going?" You know. And he can therefore teach the Dharma appropriately to each. Some of you have received the title, always a problem, of Dharma teacher. If you think you are a Dharma teacher, it's a real problem. But if you have come to a point in your practice where you can use this skill of knowing what is hurting inside this person. Wonderful. So then, in chapter 3, it turns out that the Lichavi Vimalakirti is lying sick in bed. And the Buddha wants the bodhisattvas to go and visit him. Maybe you remember anybody who was there for Dharma study? What do they say? I don't think so, no. Some of you remember Shariputra? Yes? Heart Sutra? Yep. He said, "Lord, I am indeed reluctant to go to ask the Lichavi Vimalakirti about his illness. Why? I remember one day when I was sitting at the foot of a tree in the forest, absorbed in contemplation. The Lichavi Vimalakirti came to the foot of that tree and said to me, 'Reverend Shariputra, this is not the way to absorb yourself in contemplation. You should absorb yourself in contemplation so that neither body nor mind appear anywhere in the triple world.'" Goes on. And then comes the Reverend Madgalyayana. He tells him, even the expression to teach the Dharma is presumptuous. Where there are no presumptuous words, there is no teacher of the Dharma, no one to listen, and no one to understand. Therefore, you should teach the Dharma by keeping your mind on this. You should be adept in regard to the spiritual faculties of living beings. And he goes on. And everybody has a reason not to go to inquire after the Vimalakirti's illness. So finally, Manjushri, after expressing his reluctance, okay, I'll go. And huge numbers of beings follow him. They can't wait to hear the Dharma dialogue. But what has happened? Vimalakirti has caused his house to become empty. Shunyata. So they have an exchange. And I'll just give you one little example of that exchange. After telling the Buddha how difficult it is to attend upon Lichavi Vimalakirti, he goes. And Vimalakirti sees him coming. Oh, Manjushri, welcome. Manjushri, you are very welcome. There you are, without any coming. You appear without any seeing. You are heard without any hearing. Manjushri declares, householder, it is as you say, who comes, finally comes not. Who goes, finally goes not. Why? Who comes is not known to come. Who goes is not known to go. Who appears is finally not to be seen. Good sir, is your condition tolerable? Is it livable? Are your physical elements not disturbed? Is your sickness diminishing? Is it not increasing? The Buddha asks about you. Whence came this sickness of yours? This next passage, everybody remembers. Manjushri, my sickness comes from ignorance and the thirst for existence. And it will last as long as do the sicknesses of all living beings. Manjushri, the Bodhisattva loves all living beings as if each were his only child. He becomes sick when they are sick and is cured when they are cured. You ask me, Manjushri, whence comes my sickness? The sicknesses of the Bodhisattvas arise from great compassion. There's another wonderful chapter about a goddess. I guess we're going to have to do the Vimalakirti Sutra again. The Shurangama Sutra should only take us another, what do you think, 30 years maybe? 30 more years. Okay. I will promise to stay alive. So I have finally reached the main subject and it's time to end. It's terrible. Vimalakirti asked Manjushri, how does a bodhisattva enter the gate to the one and only? Manjushri answered, to my mind, in all dharmas, there are no words, no preaching, no talking, no activity of consciousness. It is beyond all questions and answers. That is entering the gate to the one and only. And he says, each of us has had his say. There were countless bodhisattvas who each expressed how to enter before Manjushri. So, of course, he knows words are to no avail, but he uses them, right? He can't imagine any other way to respond, can you? You may remember, I'm sure I spoke about Roger Corliss. He was a scholar at Duke University and a lay Benedictine monk, and also a Gelugpa Tibetan Buddhist who struggled for a long time. Am I a Buddhist or a Christian? And finally accepted that this or had to be dropped. He was both. Anyway, in his book, The Vision of Buddhism, he gives an example of this dilemma that we are looking at today. Someone takes a blank piece of paper and writes on it,
This is a blank piece of paper.
that's what these bodhisattvas are doing. Each of them expressing how to enter the gate of non-duality, the gate of the one and only. Of course, many, many koans are about this very matter. Anything we can say, nothing we can say, there's no about, and still we try, right? We point a finger at the full moon. We paint a picture of a rice cake. But any attempt to describe anything, the best word is still a word. Superfluous is all we can say. But it is worthwhile to read the Shurangama Sutra, the Vimalakirti Sutra, the Lankavatara Sutra, the Platform Sutra, the Diamond Sutra, the Heart Sutra, So-san's faith and mind, Obaku's transmission of mind, Dogen Shobogenzo, the Book of Rinzai, just as a beginning. Very important, because these books are manifesting awakening in unique and universal ways. And they're challenging our usual conventional ways of thinking, speaking, writing, acting. It's absolutely essential to have the ground pulled out from under us. We think the ground has intrinsic reality. No, no, no. And this is what happens to Manjushri. Manjushri, Monju Bodhisattva, is known as the teacher of 7 Buddhas, as the golden-haired lion, revered. And the bodhisattvas, after they've spoken, asked him, how do you enter the gate to the one and only? And after giving that reply that I read to you, he then asks Vimalakirti. So here in the main subject, but Secho, who compiled the Blue Cliff Record and wrote the verses, did put something in brackets. He ends the main subject. What did Vimalakirti say? I have seen through him, he says. This is what we are here to experience. This, what is sometimes expressed as thunderous silence, the great roar of the golden-haired lion. Manjushri could not overpower the silence of Vimalakirti. And the last line of Secho's verse, that golden-haired lion cannot find him anywhere. So I wish this for each of you.